Hello, everyone. I don't know whether I'm actually recording here or not, but maybe we'll give this a second, see if it kicks in. And yay. This is our weekly, I guess our weekend show, the Broiler Chicken Show. But FYI, everybody, if you haven't watched one of these in a while. I think TRI is going through a bit of restructuring now, so I've cut down almost all of my public broadcasts and stuff, and I've asked the team to get things like the dashboard and stuff and the screener system working, and get video production coordinator jobs filled and stuff before I really want to attack this stuff too much in earnest on my own anymore. So you probably noticed Monday to Friday I used to do a little daily vid, but I'm not going to bother doing any of that until we get our act together here. So I don't know how long that's going to take. This might be the end. I might just sort of haphazardly do these shows every once in a while. But I need, and if you guys like these video productions and stuff, I need you to be very proactive and harass Julian Speranza specifically to approve the video coordinator person and job and get on that. Well, I don't know whether you saw, Colleen, but we've changed the daily brief format quite a bit recently too, in that I don't really want to be doing it every single day. If anything, I like Seward's on Mondays. This video coordinator person will have him set up, good to go. Tuesdays, Kiran and Daniele. I think, man, they do an awesome job. Wednesdays, maybe we have one of the people. Maybe the video coordinator person could touch base with Kevin. He did a great job of content there for a long time if he feels like talking to the community. I think also, too, maybe we even thought Wednesdays might be my day. Thursdays, Julian doing his show. And then Fridays, I don't know, maybe we'll do an open-ended one. But I guess the bottom line here is everything is in flux at TRI right at the moment. If anything, it's probably a good time to do this at the end of the summer when things are kind of a little bit silly out there. Stock market's not really doing a hell of a lot right now, and you can really feel the quote-unquote summer doldrums. As well, too, those people that are participating in DeFi space and stuff like that. You guys are doing really, really well recently, so that's really good. I'm not too active in that space, so there's not a heck of a lot I can add to that conversation. I heard dog money and a dog money incarnation went absolutely crazy here recently. Made you lots of money, so that's good to see. But anyway, point here is, like I said, start off this video. Things are very much in flux right now. I have on the site recently dialed back my sort of public participation as well too. I have health concerns right now that I'm dealing with, so that in itself might just suggest that maybe I have to change behavioral patterns in my life, kind of stuff going forward. So not nearly as active, not nearly as just keep in mind, doing all of these free videos hours after hours after hours for you guys, it's actually pretty labor intensive. So I've been dialing a lot of that back recently. So as I said, to start off, doing a bit of restructuring here at TRI. Really need you, if you guys really like these videos and you want this flow to continue, we need to hire that video production assistant. I've had 3 or 4 different people on the site reach out to me. I've given them a basic task to just show that they can do the video production job. And then we have to go through the hiring process, and Julian Speranza specifically has to deem them acceptable, or else he won't pay them. So, I don't know, all that kind of crap. So we got to get that done ASAP, and I was worried about how I was going to approach today. because, as I said, I don't have anybody doing these videos with me right now. And I'm a little bit sort of flustered at this whole video production job right now. Anyway, that's here nor there. As well, as you've been hearing me, sure, sounds good to me, Colleen. I told you specifically, the gentleman, you need to lobby to do that, but I think that ship has sailed, unfortunately. But anyway, the point here is I will try and do these free Sunday shows for you guys. In whatever sort of format that they are, in a weird sort of way, I kind of labeled them the Broiler Chicken Show. So it's kind of an odd kind of thing Brian's done on his own. I'm going to try and keep doing these. I do understand there's a lot of people in the YouTube world and stuff like that that really like this content that I'm providing. And I'd really like to try and continue this free service. So we'll see how that goes. Well, and somebody says, Brian, I'm seeing some bearishness in the markets. BTC, alt index, total market cap index. Are we about to enter dump mode soon? Thinking about sell my alts for BTC. If anything, I'm a little disappointed in this experience that this is what it seems to have come to, and I'm seeing a lot of this kind of all right, when's the time to go all in? When's the time to, hop out and get into cash? And you got perfectly timed this. And I'm the man, right? I'm a monster trader. And ironically enough, Mike, the answer to that question is, well, actually, you should have already planned that out ahead of time. You should know exactly where you were going to take profits, when you were going to take profits on any investment idea that you ever made before you ever made the investment idea. But that's, one of the kind of messages that I don't think, I've been banging my head against the wall here for the past 7 years, and I don't think you people have heard that message, and it's so fucking frustrating. And I can understand, yeah, cool, that's right. I can understand why the CME boys are like, Brian, this is just a waste of your time. You are literally wasting your time. And you're pissing us off because you're a damn good trader. Get back in the fucking pits and make us some money trading. Don't go off and fucking this save the world nonsense. So, yeah, and if anything, there's a site member here. I don't know whether you see her comments on the screen. I don't think so. No, they're not popping up. But she's like, hey, I'm listening to you. What the fuck, Brian? Quit on this sort of self-pity bent you're on these days. I love that. I will say, commentary-wise, I had feared that I didn't think I was going to be able to make it through this cycle pivot with you guys. I really didn't think so. And unfortunately, in economics, we go through these funny little periods where economics literally makes no sense whatsoever. And economics is nothing more than who's got the biggest gun, who's got the biggest barrel on their gun, and that is economic policy going forward. And I got a funny feeling we're into that kind of environment. I think you could make the argument that, to all intents and purposes, Europe was going through that through Napoleon. Then, of course, last century, we had Mr. Hitler. And I think you could make the argument that there could be a period in our Western society where we could go through a similar kind of 10, 20 years. What's really scary is if you kind of think of like the Napoleon kind of contrast. And this is what I sort of feared from the get-go, was we have not heard the last of Mr. Trump. It's interesting because when you listen to like all the celestial people and they look at his birth chart and all that kind of stuff, they're like, "Holy Jesus, this guy's right off the map. Who is this guy?" I have a feeling his story is not finished yet. And keep in mind, Mister Hitler, he tried to overthrow the German government and got thrown in the Huskow, and he went and wrote his famous book and all that crap. So make no mistake about it. Just because he failed at the first go, that doesn't mean it can't go. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think Napoleon, he also had 2 kicks at the can as well, didn't he? So, oh goodness, what a world we're in. So I'm like totally stressed out. I've been waiting a very long time, and my apology to my site developer. We hired one guy in particular to try and pull this off of creating my 1980s website into the 21st century. And it's been a long, painful wait because I would like to do a lot of my commentary off of this system and off of this platform. So, unfortunately, a huge part of me is just so frustrated right now. And, the good part about it is the gentleman that we hired, everybody on the site thinks the world of him. He's a sweet guy, has a heart of gold. And he said, I can see your frustration, Brian. So a big part of me is I don't really want to sit here and teach anymore. I mean, I don't mean to be rude for all the public. Ironically enough, for TRI, the teaching program was actually supposed to be a means to an end. We wanted to build this. It's going to cost a bucket load of money. How the hell are we going to finance? And we suppose you could have gone to a bank and mortgaged your future and become their slave, but no, right? Neither debtor nor lender be. So we built the school to try and pay for this, and it's taken a long time to get this thing going. And unfortunately, recently, I've really let my frustrations spill out. And my apologies in that regard to both Sjord and to the community. It's not healthy having sort of the one of the talking heads on the site getting a little bit frustrated, but I am. And then also too, there's the whole point of 6 different celestial events and economics thrown right out the window to add insult to injury. So it's been a tough slog, and it's not ready yet. And it's Brian is very, very frustrated. I will say that. No sense in sugarcoating it. Just FYI, I've had sort of a personal health concern that's come up here recently. I am taking some initial steps to try and address it. We'll see where that goes. But I would like to ideally basically wind myself down from as much activity as I have at the Rational Investor website. I think to all intents and purposes, the level 1 program, I think Grim and the content and the TAs and the redundancy of the people that know the process on the site, I think it's a good program. Yeah, I would keep endorsing it to the public as a great way to sort of start your small business of trading. As sort of a special treat that's developed over the past 6-8 months is our level 2 instructor has really blossomed and really flourished, and he even has his own day trading education program, and also another site veteran that's an active member of our level 3 program. He also has an education program. I would take both Kiran and Daniele's day trading ES futures course, and I will sell it because I think it is an incredible product. And David O's chart pattern recognition course. Beautiful content, just absolutely over the top. And if anything, I would be happy to be a commissioned salesman of both of those gentlemen's. And the good part and hopefully Kiran continues on as our level 2 instructor, I think he does a fantastic job with the basic material that I wanted to continue on in your introduction to trading, and I think it's really good quality material. In fact, a lot of the material that we teach in our course, you can't find anywhere else on the internet. You cannot find it anywhere. I've been like 35 bloody years in this market now. 88 was my first job, and I went to university in the early 90s, and then got my first sort of career job in 93, 94. And basically I've worked in and around the stock market since then. So I don't know, you do the math. How many decades is that? This stuff isn't taught anywhere. Anywhere. Nobody teaches you gap theory. Nobody teaches you hell, you can't even find people that put together point and figure charts. So I would strongly suggest you take advantage of it. But the beautiful part about it, of course, is Kiran, our level 2 instructor, he uses a lot of that to kill day trading. I mean, it's just beautiful watching Kiran and Daniele. And also, too, they have a room on the TRI site, the day trading room, that I saw, people like Stuart actually originally put that room together. And I saw that Stuart's getting a little more active again in it. The battle stations room, the day traders room. Oh, it's just heaven just hanging out with those guys and just listening to them. And I have to say, I'm very proud of Zach coming along, as he's been my level 3 TA for quite some time. And I think he's gotten to the point, along with Ray, and I'd really like to encourage Ray. Ray's about one of the first few people on the site who's actually gone and actively built like algos and stuff to identify option strategies and what represent attractive trade setups. I see Ray's in the hangout here. I'd love to encourage you to work more with Zach and see if we can get you two to the point where you can run that level 3 program and just have sort of my canned lectures coming out of the box. But the good part about it for the level 3ers is I said that I will be here till the end of the year teaching the class, and I'll probably do a TA position if my health holds into the new year, and sort of excuse me, be a backup for Zach, and I'm just throwing it out. Ray's probably like, what? I don't want a job there. Are you kidding me? I'm making too much trading options. Who knows? Anyway, that would be sort of my dream, is if I could get Zach as the level 3 instructor, and then one of you guys who's done really well with the options material. And by all means, you current level 3ers or any recent grads or anything, or are super jazzed with the program and love the options material and the 4 strategies I teach, and you'd like to try and help people learn that, get in touch. Maybe we'll have a TA in training so that transition can move nice and smoothly. So, point of the matter here is I think that the TRI education program, not only are you going to learn the process, which is really what you have to learn to be able to actually be a professional at this business. All right, awesome, Ray, cool. Yeah, thank you for the positive feedback there, Ray, awesome. Theoretically, Monday to Friday, we should have different people offering daily brief content, video content for you to chew on. So I think that's good value-added service. Once the screeners are up and running, like I said, whether it be learning material, things like learning about gaps or learning about horizontal support and resistance and high to low trend lines and stuff like that, which frankly speaking I think are dominating right now. I've been privileged to learn a bunch of stuff that I think is extremely valuable in making money from trading, and being able to impart it on you guys. I take advantage of it while it's still here, because it won't be here forever, everyone. Everybody understand that. It won't be here forever. It's here now. If you have this opportunity, you maybe watched a few of these broiler chickens or some of my free rants in the past, and we're like, holy shit, I gotta mine this guy. I mean, the price that we charge for this education is laughable. I know some people that paid $10,000, $15,000 just for like what we teach as an introductory program just to WD Gann. And that's it. That's the only thing that they learn. And they pay like fucking 10, 15 G's for it. Where did my tissue go? I sneezed and now I need to blow my schnoz. Sorry about that, everyone. That was terribly rude of me. Actually, you know what? I'm going to fill my coffee up while I'm at it. All right, so absolutely incredible education program, ridiculously cheap. Hell, you can mine the YouTube videos like our Great Dull Moody buddy. And you should be able to just get absolutely over-the-top value from this place, TRI. I think we do an excellent job in that regard. If you need some help learning the process, which I don't see anybody teach anywhere on the internet, get your fucking ass in the school. Just get it done. Learn how to run a small business of trading. It's not rocket science, but nobody teaches it anywhere except for here. So learn it. Or you could go to like Top Step and fucking weed through and they won't even tell you. They'll just sort of like, well, you know, we like this guy Ray Burchett, IDT, Intuitive Development for Traders. But damn, it's so thick. And it's like the one thing I love about our program is it's so clear and it's so articulate. 12 weeks, everything's laid out. You can see step by step by step every single thing we're going to do from beginning to end. And everybody who takes the course goes, fucking hey, man, I put the time and effort in. And wow, look at the results. The people that don't put the time and effort in and try and half-ass it, I see most of them, they basically... Remember, and also remember, too, that most people cannot do this job that we want to do as professional traders. Like 90-95% of the people in this world cannot do this job. So... if you fancy yourself that 5-10% of the population, great. You know, we got the tools. They work. But I can't tell you whether you're that type of person. In fact, actually, a lot of people that take this course, at the end of it, they look and they see specifically what has to be done. And they're like, yeah, I'm not a day trader. Thanks. Appreciate it. I appreciate the candid, honest answer. It's not for me. Next bus. And also, too, you know, I think at least trying to slow people down, you know, something like the conservative way to manage money and investing, things like the Nanny Nibbles, little old lady strategy. I mean, that's the way you make money from investing is you put your money to work and you let it work. And you're patient and you're disciplined and you wait. Point is that even that strategy alone, a lot of people, they learn it, they see it, and they go, you know what? No, I'm a crackhead. I can't be a little old lady. That's impossible. I mean, at least at TRI, we teach you the reality of this space. And, of course, I think we do excellent demonstration. In fact, just even over the past few days, we just... the cool part about it being a rational investor, and I don't know whether you actually, I teach it in the level 1 course, but I think a lot of people poo-poo it, and you notice that the icons and stuff, they're not even here anymore. But to really understand what the hell rational investing is you have to actually go back to what my old logo used to be. And the logo And actually, I got this from John Bollinger like 30 years ago. And it's weird. He tried to promote the concept, and for some reason, it just wouldn't take. And he gave up on it after a while, which I find fascinating. But rational investing is quite literally what we really want to do is we want to try and find, there's a million different ways to skin this cat. And that's the worst part about this, right? And some people will say, I'm a fundamentalist and fundamental analysis is the only way to go. And others will say, well, I'm a technical analyst. The only thing I need to see is in the price charts, and that's the way I go. And that's the only thing that they do. So that would be sort of like I'm a fundamentalist over here. This is all assuming, of course, that you can spell correctly. Fundamentalist. I-S-T. And a technician over here, technicianalist, technical analysis, something like that. And this is the fascinating thing about a guy like me. I mean, like, I can sort of see these sort of big abstract visions and stuff like that. But I'll tell you, it's the worst. It's been the history of my life. It's a terrible speller, absolutely terrible speller. So I might have spelled these words wrong. I am terrible at spelling. I don't know why it's like that. Anyway, it is what it is. But and I think this, is a perfect analogy here where Seward, what do we want to say? Found Luda. And what was really interesting about Seward is very, very good in his field. Probably by time Seward is done, he's going to own half this bloody world. But he'll be very subtle about it, so you'll never know that he owns it. But from a fundamental perspective, Seward did his due diligence, and I think, what's the guy's name? Do Kwon or something like that? He really likes his work, and of course, anybody who's on the site Monday to Friday, Mondays, Seward has a slot on the Daily Brief, and he talks a lot about fundamentals in the space. But what was really interesting about this story was Seward found the story. Gotta hand it to him, man. I mean, it was a pretty good story, don't get me wrong. He found the story back here, right in here. And so this leg, I had to sort of, you should be able to see what's going on here, right? If you were active down here, right, you should look at this and go, well, gee whiz, that looks like a good old reload zone. Let's see if we go, say, from that high up there down to this low down there. Can you see how, oh wow, gee whiz, looks like the market bottomed right off a good old mountain man. Boom. Could you have snuck in here? Could you have bought that W? I don't know. It's up to you. It's you and your plan. This is also a really good analogy. Somebody said there, crypto's rallying, crypto's falling off. Here's a really good example where if your plan was, well, I have this original market structure. Looks like there's a big honking like weekly W here. Like, wow, what a breakout. Beautiful Benkoff check. Huge rally. Pull back into reload zone. Man, I got to buy. I just got to start accumulating. And I think also, too, this story was just getting going. And even Short even missed this story. And he's like, Brian, I just got to start accumulating. I'm not going to bet the farm. I think he started coming in at like 50, 60 cents. So even if and RIS doesn't even really have an IPO price, but even if we're sort of like, okay, well, where's the bottom end of this range? Where do I really not want to be chasing? You can see that sort of the bottom end of this range is down in this area. That's kind of eyeballing it kind of shit, Point here is, there's lots of reasons. I mean, holy jeez. Hopefully everybody knows the letter of the alphabet that I love and can see down, up, down, woohoo! Right? And you could argue that all this pullback here are more Benkoff checks, right? Especially that tag right there. Yeah, look at that. So, problem is, of course, and on our first go round, Stuart's like, hey, look at that. I bought some down here and I'm kicking ass. Oh, fucking A, man. Way to go. But unfortunately, I'm not allowed to chase. So what I had to do here was I had to simply say, look at great fundamental story. Awesome. But I'm not allowed to chase. What do I have to do? And, if I was thinking upside objectives, you can see we have some fun little technical analysis tools that we're using that help us a lot in picking out levels. So if anything, I'm thinking, okay, big upside, blow off top, way to go, make tons of money. But if I want to get in, what do I have to do? Well, I have to wait for the blow off top to finish. I have to wait for reload zones, and I have to start seeing, indicators starting to look bullish again, prices starting to W, blah, 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 blah. So sure enough, that's what I did. And what's fascinating about this, right? This is the fascinating thing about capitalism. What was going on in this story right through all of this? And this is often what happens with these crazy things is that, we can kind of predict the future. I mean, the damn thing's rallied up. I can't chase. I have to wait for reload zones. But we don't know why this is going to happen. And it turns out that, some big hack or whatever, and, the sky's falling, whatever. I mean, the point of the matter here is you should have been taking some profits at these damn levels. I mean, there's some just sick-ass profit-taking levels. And selling guys on doubles, quadruples, quintuples, zimzupples, whatever. But if I wanted to come in, and remember, I learned about this story here, so I couldn't chase, what do? Well, I wait for reload zones. And this is the most important thing. Like Mike there is making a comment. Is this the time to buy? Is this the time to sell? Whatever. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen here. I really don't know. I haven't got a clue. Put your opinion away. It's meaningless. It's useless. It's a waste of time. And I can hear somebody's decided to join the conversation.
No, I want to sit here. No, I don't want to.
That was interesting. So, please introduce yourself. I mean, this is earth-shattering stuff. Where are we? Isn't that interesting? Everybody in here has their microphone muted. I don't know where that's coming from. Isn't that fascinating? Anyway, if you do happen to see your microphone on, by all means, maybe throw yourself on mute. So, as now, rational analysis, that's where I was going with all of this. A technician says, well, okay, sounds to me like, we got ourselves a half-decent fundamental story, but I'm only allowed to buy RLZs. Thanks to that stupid Beamish guy that's always busting my ass about chasing. Don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. So, the interesting thing is, and this is a really, really good example of this, that here, fundamentally, the story's great. But technically, the story's horrible. Does everybody remember Dog Money? Anybody know Dog Money? Dog money, dog money, dog money! Same thing. No difference. How about when Bitcoin was running up to 20 G's? Same thing. No difference, right? We can pull up the corn charts. Identical. Absolutely identical. The only problem is, which one do I want to use? There's too many charts. I'll deal with that later. Anyway. So, market comes down into a reload zone. Brian's love affair of 78.6 fibs. Oh, gee whiz W's. Wyckoff checks. Blah, 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 blah. And up we go. So here's a great example where right at this point, I think you could make the argument, like right here, that the short-term story, sort of the FUD, you've all heard that expression before, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, was very, very high. And yet, ironically enough, because the fundamental story was so good, and technically price now was actually cleaned up, it had gotten rid of all this speculative froth in the market, right here is actually where you actually have, actually, who's that cute little kid on YouTube? Apparently, we have a rational idea right there. Why? Because you've got Stewart as a fundamentalist going, this is the best thing since sliced fucking bread. And you got Beamish going, well, I'm only allowed to buy reload zones, and guess what? There's a big fat reload zone. This is what's called rational analysis. And ironically enough, if you don't do this, you're not a rational analyst. I find it amusing. There are people on the rationalinvestor.com. I think that's our website now. Rationalinvestor.com. And they'll openly go, nah, I don't give a shit about fundamentals. It's like, wait a minute. Do you really know what the hell the rational investor actually stands for? I find that hilarious. So, point of the matter here is, it's where these two schools overlap. This is rational analysis right in here. And I might argue as a really, really good example of rational analysis, that's your Luna right there. And I got to tell you, man, I took a fucking bucket load of money out of the market on this thing. The tweet that I put out this morning, which is kind of funny, is or it was a couple days ago, and I sure it probably pisses a lot of people off. But the tweet that I put out was, I don't know where the hell I do this stuff now. Let's see how we do this. Got a great one off on this OMG. It's perfect. I mean, it's so simple. They were just throwing this shit away there back the end of May, beginning of June. What a great analogy of sell in May and walk away. A perfect analogy. Had to have the balls to step in and buy this W here. And I got filled down here, which was damn lucky. And I just let them have a nice big whack of this. And now I got a big old, like 5-10 G's worth of this OMG. Free. I could live with that. Me too, PRZ. All right, PRZ. And the comment is, great part about making money from trading, of course, is it never goes out of style. But that's a cheeky comment. So what I do like about this, though, right, is that if you had just sort of come in and bought, like even right now, really, you could have chased this thing and said, well, Brian, I got an average fill price on Luna. I love the story. I had like 1580. And, okay, I did all right, but you didn't kill it like this. I mean, this was just ridiculous. Then we got 2 doubles off on this one, so that's 2x after, of course, the reload. And, hats off to Stewart. I think he was, and it's interesting how fundamentalists, if you do understand the inside of a story, they can sometimes get a little bit too in love with their own story. Remember that life-changing events, guys? I mean, they can just get a little bit too optimistic. And actually, one thing I really do like about Stewart is he was forcing himself. He had said that, hey, look, I took a fairly sizable bet in my own personal account on this thing, and this has now afforded me the opportunity to pay myself. And I'm ringing the register. And he did specifically say that on the TRI show that if it gets up into the low 30s, he was going to ring that register really hard. I mean, there's my trade. I mean, just this is so typical Brian. It's ridiculous, eh? But if I understand correctly, Sjord let quite a bit go up here. And I'm really proud of him because that in itself is another great analogy of I don't know what the hell's going to happen in the world. I don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin. I don't know what's going to happen with cryptocurrency. I don't know what's going to happen with the IRS coming down on crypto people. I don't know what's going to happen with the Ayatollah rock and roller running around there in Afghanistan pissing everybody off. I don't know. All I know is that, hey, I buy W's in reload zones, and when the asset doubles in price, I force myself to pay myself for my hard work. That's the only thing I know. And the irony of it all is it's the only thing that measures whether I'm a half-decent trader is if I actually do what I say I'm going to do. And I was even talking to somebody on the site the other day where we were going through a whole list. I mean, TRI people, Jesus H. Christ, these people have made a bucket load of money here. Who was it that somebody posted in the lounge? I couldn't believe it. I gave everybody in the level 3 a 20 for 20 challenge. See if you could do 20 trades 20 trades mistake free. Who was that? That's you, Simeon, eh? One of my level 3s. And that when you get to the level 3 program, I'm kind of an asshole. I sort of, level 1, little old lady, that kind of shit. We're very sort of like, hey, anybody can do this. Just set yourself up for success. Really learn, really, apply yourself. And, as Kiran works you through level 2, okay, come on, we got to be a little bit crisper. And then you get to the level 3 course, and right out of the gate, I'm like, okay, you fucking assholes, quit fucking around here. There's no more mistakes. You're pissing me off. So, and I think it worked with Simeon. Because fuck me, he put out a journal here. And of course, also too, great to see he passed the level 3 exam. Congratulations, sir. Soon to be veteran god motor. And he's just killing the market here. Just killing. What does he say? Keep in mind, these courses are only like 3-4 months old. And he's got a 75% ROI right now. Fucking A. So, now that's what I want to see. And hats off to you, sir. Very, very, very nice work. Nice work. Point here is, the problem here is, what do you think the odds are that a lot of people in the public are coming to this story now? What do you think? Probably pretty high? I'd say probably pretty damn high. So, is this really, keep in mind, when we were buying all this shit and banging out doubles now, nobody wanted to buy this stuff. So that's what really bothers me right now is, man, the orgy, it is getting going in earnest. And that's, this is a massive success story. And hats off to Sjord, life-changing events. The guy deserves the success. I'm so proud of him. He's put the hard work in, and he's gotten paid. And there's a lot of people on the site have gotten paid. And I think Sjord's reputation on the site has gone through the roof. He has like a little DeFi advisory room on the site. As soon as he opened it up, literally there's a bazillion people all pouring in. The only thing you're missing, Sjord, is you gotta bring this goddamn fucking screener system online. If he delivers this, then it's a 100% slam dunk success. He's got his because he even said that he's built and actually I don't even know where it is, but he was showing us the other day that he does have his algorithm actually firing away, spitting out signals. So he even has his algorithm, so everything's firing. The only thing that's missing is the signaling system. So close. Anyway. And for whatever it's worth, as TRI's DeFi man. Siort, of course, has a few assets of TRI's in this Luna space. So, needless to say, TRI's done rather well through this as well. So, okay. Where do I want to go next? I didn't want to get too hung up on this, but I seem to have. What else do I want to? So like it doesn't matter whether it's Luna or it's OMG. I also too I think we got off a really good trade on the CIS. I was super bullish of CIS. These energy webs. Hopefully everybody was listening to us back in the late spring, early summer about this energy webs. It's done fantastically well. So that was absolutely perfectly telegraphed trade. We walked you literally right through the whole damn thing. This CIS here, I heard a bunch of people, for one reason or another, I didn't have my orders working. I can't remember exactly why, but you can see a bunch of people on the site were very, very happy with this, but I still think there's a world of room for this thing to run here. So I think there's a lot of money, and the money seems to be being made in these sort of intermediate type names. I did notice that a lot of the shit that I've been buying here, it just hasn't done anything. This stuff is just sitting here. I mean, hey, there's a nice W there. That thing should go, but they're just sitting here. And I got a funny feeling that the end of this year, sort of the late fall period, is when this shit all starts going absolutely haywire, which in itself is a sign that we're probably near the end of the move. But as you can see, but most of these pieces of shit. And I also saw recently that Trex, of course, is up to their games again, delisting a whole bunch of names. And, like along the lines of Gary Gessler kind of idea. I think that's his name. I thought it was interesting that basically these crypto exchanges, they're folding like a fucking cheap hooker. In fact, actually, I think the line goes, and I'd probably get in trouble for playing this.
I fold like a cheap hooker who got hit in the...
Okay, if I just play that, you go and watch it. I don't think that's over the copyright limit. I think I only got like a second or two in there. But anyway, I did find it interesting that these guys are folding so... like if you were like, well, CZ's gonna hold the line and he's gonna protect our freedom. Fuck you. This guy, if I understand correctly, I think they even like hired like an IRS executive to come in and just make sure that they're not gonna be put out of business. So, if this guy's folding like a cheap whore, then I expect most of this industry will. And it's sort of the last holdouts of the anonymous coin sort of part of this space. You really thought you were going to be able to get away with tax evasion? No, you're not. So, and if anybody thinks that that's what your motive is, then Gary Gessler, I think that's his name, Gessler, something like that. He even said before, he's the type of guy, he's like, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, odds are it's a duck. So that's the type of guy he is. And so as a result, I would imagine these guys probably got the message, don't even look like a duck. Yeah, it looks like a something bride. All right, that's interesting, Paul. I don't know whether I'm supposed to. All right, so I suppose also too, and I've been talking a lot about this kind of scenario. I still think that this is the world that we're in right here this year, Oh, yeah, Paul. And the funny thing is that he may not even care whether he's right or wrong. The guy has so much power, and often the power goes to these people's heads. They always say, those who the gods wish to destroy first make drunk with power. Almost always. So I don't know whether the gods wish to destroy Mr. Gessler, but he's wielding a lot of power right now. And I wouldn't go to war with a guy like that right now. That just doesn't make sense. You're gonna lose. It's simple as that. And I think guys like CZ, that guy's at the end of the day, he wants to make money, and of course probably get more bitcoins and more Ethereum. Right? So if I'm sure some people came to him and said, "Look, this is a war that's just not worth fighting. It's just not worth fighting." Anyway. So it is interesting too, though, that you might actually find that this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because maybe some sort of legislation is passed that all altcoins are illegal. And everybody has to go pile into Bitcoin and get the fuck out of altcoins. Who knows? But I do find it's very. I remember back in the spring, we sort of conjectured, was this going to look more like 1314 or 1718? And this is looking a hell of a lot like 1314 here. So what that means to me, though, you can see, I mean, this was an early bottom, or a bottom there in early July. We didn't actually bottom until sort of mid-July here. And then we rallied right up into early September. Could we maybe like rally into, I don't know, second week of September, maybe even, and then start to consolidate and have some sort of big kind of FU event? Is it going to be something along the lines of Silk Road reversal news that generates this type of price action down the road? I doubt it. I don't think there are any major court cases or anything that could. It'd be interesting to see if maybe Albrecht or something gets freed. I did see that there were a bunch of guys that did get pled guilty to dark web transactions. There one guy in particular, something like 3,000 or 4,000 bitcoins he was laundering, and he pled guilty. So the law is coming down hard on the dark web people in Corn. I do find it interesting that 1314, this move here to here, right? The sharp pullback was basically a mountain man tag. And then instant reversal straight up. So guess what I'm going to be looking for sometime in September, October. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know when it's going to come. Of course, just like I showed you with that Luna chart, for God's sakes, people, if you want to make money from this shit, you have to force yourself to come in and buy when the market's down at the bottom end of ranges. Now, I don't know whether I even really like this buy here, but you saw that Luna, I mean, beautiful W's and reload zones, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So can I, even if it's Bitcoin, can I come in and buy on a market that's jumped up like this straight up? The answer is an unequivocal no. If we can get a pullback, and you notice that pullback number now is around 37 Gs. If this high holds, I think actually we could probably work our way a bit higher here in the short term. But that's sort of what I have to think about if I want to think about actually buying any Bitcoins right now, is where is that fuck you? And keep in mind, Bitcoin loves pulling the FUs. Soon as everybody thinks the only direction this thing can go is up, and trust me, it happens a lot in this space, then the market starts going down. So as soon as everybody in this space is only thinking down, then the market turns and starts heading back up. So I still kind of think, and actually maybe that's a good segue. If we go and look at what I actually think Bitcoin's really doing here in the short term. I guess about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I wanted to go and after the current level 3 program had finished, and I just get burnt out because I've been talking every day for like 3 months straight. I wanted to go take a week off, and so I kind of drew up this image and said, this is what I sort of think is going to be our future. And I did this chart up about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And that was sort of like back when we were pushing up through here. And I drew out basically 3 scenarios. The current scenario, which was yellow, and I sort of drew it in this area here, especially when we broke out through that high, because you can start to think A, B, that's the dotted lines here. So A to B, and then C to D. This is just a very normal harmonic pattern. Those people that want to mine the YouTube channel, the YouTube show, I'm here to try and learn something to make me a better trader. Just look for this type of price action. because the market almost always moves in sort of half steps. So here I think is a very, very good example that we had an established downtrend off of the peaks. If we resolved above that peak, notice the rally was right to the trend line. What a coincidence. So obviously there's a hell of a lot of people in the world that are seeing this exact same level, and a lot of sell orders were placed there. Market backs off. It punched up through that. Well, this should look like a continuation pattern. And sure enough, you can see over the past, what is this? This is since basically the end of July, beginning of August. We've just been sort of, this is what they call climbing the wall of worry. It's interesting, just even somebody there on the YouTube page said, I'm seeing some bearishness on a markets. Are we about to enter dump mode soon, right? So somebody's already sort of getting into the business of predicting the future. Frankly speaking, I wouldn't say it would be wise to call an end to this rally until it actually does stop going up. Which I know sounds silly, but ironically enough, in this silly game, that's half of what you got to do is just simply be very, very patient. Like through this whole bull run, you could actually say that, well, the bull run officially stopped when this M right here was confirmed, right? There's a little bit of an M here, so there's a bit of a warning sign, but then they went and blasted up top. Then, look at this huge M. All right, boom. The bull rally, the bull move has ended right there on that big honking M confirmation failure. I would actually say now we are in a trading range. And ironically enough, markets actually, and I found this interesting. Somebody recently said, well, the reason why you use technical analysis is to identify trending markets, and you want to trade with the trend. Okay, and that there's nothing wrong with that statement, but the problem is, how often do markets actually trend? And if you're sitting there going, well, I'm a day trader, I'm going to be trading every day, and you realize that markets trend only about 20-30% of the time, then that means that, I guess the others, 70-80% of the time, you are doing nothing. And if that's the case, how the hell do you pay the bills? So you can try and be a quote-unquote trend trader and only trade with the trend. But what that actually means is you're probably not a quote-unquote trader. You're probably more like an investor. The trader, ironically enough, would probably look at this trading range and say, I'm going to try and force myself to try and come in at the bottom end of the range. There's good old mountain man down there. I remember Willie Woo on social media and stuff was barking about $30,000, $40,000. I think you can make the argument there's the 50% rule of the entire range, which Mr. Gann, of course, loves. So you can make the argument that, hey, we're not frothy anymore. We've actually taken back a lot of this market. Maybe we're going to go back up and explore the upper end of the range. And that's sort of the thesis that I had when I drew this image up and how I thought it would sort of play out. Here's a great analysis tool that I almost see nobody in the marketplace teach. Nobody in the marketplace talks about. I don't understand why, but you tell me. This is a trend line that's drawn off of this rally peak to this rally trough, and that's it. Just boom, boom. We call a high to low trend line. Market structure confirmed bullish off of that point, so that's a valid point. Market structure confirmed bullish off of this point, so that's a valid point. This is an active trend line. And you tell me, has the market respected this trend line at all here? I'd say so. Also, too, the irony of it all is we have rules about trading at trend lines. Should we take a new long trade in this area? I don't think so. It's kind of asking for trouble. It would have been damn difficult, but could you somehow force you as a trader right? Force yourself to come in and buy at the bottom end of this range down in here. I think there's the level. And I did a trade like this that tagged the Mountain Man level on Ethereum, and we just feel like we're trading gods there. This was tougher because this came into a tail here. Not a clean, easy trade by any stretch of the imagination. Point here is, though, on the reversal, moving up, we're in a trading range. So now do you notice we're starting to get up into reload short zones? There's Mountain Man. Notice the ABCD almost aligns perfectly with that 61.8 fib off of the entire range. Would it make sense? And then also, too, like I said, massively important trend line here, this high to low trend line. Would it make sense for us to flounder here and really sort of maybe even sort of either set a base for a new rally higher, which is totally realistic, or actually top out and start to head back down? I think the answer is yes. Was interesting that we did have one of our site principals get pretty interested in the moon cycle here recently. I don't know whether that was really of any help here. I think we go into a new moon cycle here. Was that of any benefit? I don't know. I'll tell you, though, I'm a big fan of Earth, Venus, and Uranus fractals. Not fractal. There we are. Earth, Venus, and Uranus, they make 90-degree angles. They make 120-degree angles. And over my career, man, aspects. Thank you, sir. Over my career, it's just stunning how often markets pivot off of those events, and we do have a big one coming up here August 25th. So I actually have been thinking that I do like a market top to be coming in here somewhere. I didn't know whether we were going to go into like orgy blow off top mode and everybody and their brothers in love with NFTs, away we go. Does that actually get Bitcoin all rah, 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 or do we just run out of gas up here at actually a very normal place for us to run out of gas? Remember I said the actual market structure top on Bitcoin is, on a clothesline level, this is the level that the institutions are going to be in love with. That level right there, that close bar right there, and that's 49,128. That's a very, very important level. And notice, oh, Jesus, look at what just happened there. So, are we near some sort of bottom where, oh my God, this is a perfect time to buy? Or are we maybe a little too late to buy? Definitely in the too late to buy camp. Are we actually topped out and ready to break down? We say the trade process should go location, indicator confirmation, market structure. So I don't even think we've actually hit trade location yet. I tell you, I think we got to trade up to this Mountain Man level. I think we're at a point where institutional players, this is an institutional sell level. Every institution in the world, I can guarantee you, has this chart somewhere in their office now. And there's a big honking M. I mean, you can see it. It's as plain as day. What are we supposed to think if we ever see the market smiling at us? There it is. So the irony of it all we just rallied to a level where actually a whole bunch of institutional players are really probably going to strap on a bunch of shorts. My feeling is we got to get through this celestial window. And then, of course, Labor Day weekend's kind of this funny, weird weekend. We're probably going to go, this silly sickness world. Actually, that reminds me. Oh, darn, I forgot. I was supposed to mention at the beginning. We'll have a raffle for the Level 1 program, for a seat in the Level 1 program. And we're going to have the raffle in 2 weeks' time. So everybody who wants to have a spot in that raffle, I know it's going to be awkward. Everybody so if you don't who feel like it, it's fine by me. Don't stress. I mean, it's up to you whether you want to be in the raffle or not. There is the link to the Google Doc that has it, and I'll also put it in the comments here, but I'm not sure. I think I turned the comments off. I can never remember how the hell that stuff goes. But I did actually put in the comments of today's video, whatever. I put this in here. That's a link to that document. So you want to just put your screen name. You want to put an email address. Obviously, if you just put your screen name and we put you in the raffle and you win and we can't get a hold of you, we're just going to give the seat to somebody else. But if you want to come on here, I've done this as just a really simple open share document. Anybody, should be just anyone. Anyone in the group? Anyone? There we go. Anyone with the link. There we go. So anybody you want to come in here, you want to put your name and email down, we'll have a raffle for a seat there for the fall program, and we should have that raffle on 2 weeks from today. So I don't know how you guys want to promote it. I used to have an assistant that used to help me with these videos. He did a great job at all that work, Kevin. But unfortunately, we don't have Kevin anymore. So, I wouldn't mind maybe even somebody want to volunteer on the site to manage that job and manage the raffle. Maybe reach out to me and let me know. And you can be my official assistant for that raffle. I'd appreciate it. Half of the time what I do is I just end up forgetting stuff and it never gets done. Like I said, halfway through the video here and I mentioned, oh, by the way, we're going to have a raffle. So somebody on the site want to volunteer to help me run the raffle, PM me, whatever. I mean, Kevin, if you want to help me, you're more than welcome. We'll try and have that in 2 weeks' time. Then that way that gives you guys over on YouTube, even site members, if you got a friend, really you should take this course. At the very least, maybe just have them go and sign up for the raffle. Let's see, I guess that's this page. Hey, there you go. So some people are already putting their names down. You can put your email down if you want. If you do it, obviously it makes it a heck of a lot easier for us to get a hold of you. You know what? I think, just if you need to create like a dummy Gmail account. In fact, actually, what I'm going to backtrack on that. If you just need to create a dummy Gmail account, just idiot Gmail account, whatever, for this particular raffle and you never use it again, I think I'm going to have to say, Silvano, please give me an email address. Like I said, you want to create just an idiot Gmail account that you'll never use again in your life and even, just not even set it up with your account, great. But I think I'm going to ask that there is a Gmail or just some sort of email attached to it so I don't have to go around chasing after you guys. So you can see there's already 4 people interested in the raffle. So hey, the odds are pretty good of you winning if we do it today, eh? Okay, so back to our conversation. We got Labor Day weekend coming up. Usually Labor Day weekend's a little bit sloppy anyway. So I don't know how long you've been involved in crypto or not. I think I've told you that if you really did want to buy, I really like the idea of just waiting for whatever the hell the FU move here is this fall. There almost always is. And it's just, remember, this is not really, I'm predicting the future. This is, well, if you set yourself up to buy in reload zones like Luna, we're trying to be rational analysts here. We've got this sort of year end, frankly speaking, considering the way that the sickness is going, considering the way that the political leadership down in the United States of America, I think, has taken a huge punch in the gut and has lost a lot of credibility with the electorate. I could very easily see a lot of people start to get very disillusioned with the United States of America into the end of the year. And ironically enough, what would actually be the ultimate end of this cycle? There's one thing that could happen that would mark the end of this cycle, and I've told you guys what it was that marked the end of the last cycle, and that was the greed cycle, and it would be absolutely perfect. So I'd be curious, let's see if any of you guys are listening to me. What would be the perfect personification for the end of this entire cycle? That's probably the inevitable end of all of this, Chris. And Chris, I need you to get on Julian and start PMing him relentlessly. And same thing as Hafed. I need both of you and anybody else who is interested in that the video production assistant job. I need you, Chris. You're C Blue, right? I think that's you. All right, so that's fine. So good. And Hafed, if you're watching as well, so it's good that Chris is on him. Hafed, need for you to get on, Julian, and we got to get that interview process taken care of and get you guys up and running, because I can't do all the videos that we do on my own. It's impossible. All right, so let's see. Did we get any answers? What was it that we were going to look for that was going to mark the end of this massive cycle? And somebody you were close, Paul. I don't know whether it's necessarily a collapse, but the end of the last greed cycle was basically the collapse of the Soviet Union and the collapse of Russia. Well, I mean, Russia now, of course, is now back to Russia, but the Soviet Union, that whole idea of the socialist dream, and I might argue that the day CNN says buy Bitcoin, eh? But I would say the day if we saw that the United States of America defaulted on its debt, then that would actually be the catalyst that I'd say, okay, we are finally into the end game of this. And is Mr. Wu still calling for absolutely insane levels? I mean, he's sort of like the there's people that are like, that's the glass node thing, right? Is that the same? Does he do the same thing as those glass node people? Anyone? Anybody help me? Yeah. Reduce the level by about 100K, but still at 150,000. Ah, interesting. All right. So not as enthusiastic, but he interprets glass node data. Is that how it works? All right. So the point of the matter here is what I'm hearing is these people are still super insanely bullish. What would be the perfect way for Bitcoin to justify going into the hundreds of thousands of dollars? Well, how about the U.S. government says, well, officially we're going to default on this short-term debt obligation of our U.S. treasuries. What? The U.S. dollar collapses. Fiat currencies collapse. Absolute chaos in the street. Bitcoin, $100,000, $200,000. And we also said, what is the sort of ultimate personification of the baby boomers giving the Gen Xers, me, but probably most of you millennials, the ultimate finger? We're going to go to the grocery store and a loaf of bread's going to cost $50 fucking dollars. And all they've done is they've just hyperinflated their way out of their old debt problem. So unfortunately, I think that's still very, very much on the table here. Also, too, it's a little harder to see, but if I understand correctly, celestial events. This is what this coming greed cycle should look like. Because I would make the argument that the greatest generation, the banksters, were not in control of the system. The baby boomers, the banksters, were in total control of the system. And they just conned everybody into thinking that they were part of the democracy. Now we all know blatantly we are not part of this democracy, and it's just that simple. Now we live in, what do they call it? It's not, is it plutocracy? Is that rule by the rich? I think that's how it works. Maybe you could call it we live. And ironically enough, we used to make fun of Russia with all the oligarchs, right? And they used to call them the commissars, right? Where nothing really changed. It's just a whole bunch of oligarchs run the country of Russia. Well, let's call a spade a spade. That's exactly. I mean, my country, Canada, completely run by the oligarchs. Democracy's disappeared in my country. I mean, sadly, a grassroots person that really wanted to affect change, it's almost impossible to get anything done in this country. And now the banks have completely inflated this situation completely out of control to deal with the old debt, where quite literally the middle class now is just getting destroyed in our country. Absolutely destroyed. I used to actually believe in the system, but I can actually see now how the financial slavery system works by the banksters, this sort of banking class, the 1%, whatever you want to call them, and how they all sort of, they collude together to create this system. It's quite remarkable. I guess the worst part about this image, though, is if this is the baby boomers, notice that from this period here to actually where we're breaking out and making higher highs and higher lows, and whoa, this is a bull market. You notice that, even if we go say something from here to here, that says, February 23, and this is August of 21. Oh, fuck me. Could the next couple of years be a bit of a challenge here for all of us, guys? I mean, especially you crypto fans, right? You crypto people that are gonna. Oh, actually, am I looking at the right screen? Oh fuck! I might have fucked this up. Tell you, I swear, Kevin. If I go out on my own and make my own commentary service, which I think I might do at the end of the year, I'm gonna have to see if I can beg to have Kevin come back and help me. Because wow, is he ever good at this job? All right, yeah, looks like so you guys over on YouTube, can you see the Saturn Pluto cross? That's what this is. I think crazy cycle. Somebody over on YouTube, I don't know whether I screwed this up or not. I think that's what they're seeing. Anyway, man, the delay here, how long is this? Let's see how long it takes for somebody on YouTube to say something to me. Democracy versus oligarchy equals oligarchy 1. Yeah, totally. Dave Max says, Beamish, we can't see Pluto. Oh. Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. So, point here is, hopefully, like if you zoom in here, if we're following this path, then you notice that we're kind of like bumping along, and then we go down, and then we come back up, and then we go down, then we come back up, and then we go down. But we don't really like break out in earnest new bull market till like over here. And that's a good couple of years. I mean, this is a very long-term chart, right? This is like monthlies. So actually, it's a weekly chart, but nonetheless, there is our coming growth cycle. Boom to boom, right? Where's 35? Yeah, all the way boom to boom. So we're just sort of getting going here. We just had that big surge right off of the big dump, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a good couple of years here of cleanup, because the banksters have basically said that we're going to prop up the economy, we're going to reflate everything to make that old debt problem not as big of an issue, i.e., $50 loaf of bread, blah, blah, blah. I don't think you're going to really have the stock market crash. The only time that this thing will crash is when the banksters want it to crash, and they'll do that when they start raising short-term interest rates. When you start to see short-term interest rate curve short-term interest rates relative to long-term interest rates invert, i.e. inverted yield curve, then you'll know, get ready, the market's going to crash. And we're nowhere near that. So what ends up happening here is this becomes sort of like a sideways consolidation all about the sickness. And really all we're doing is we're just we're backfilling and we're just buying time here. And it's interesting if you look at that long-term cycle, this is in essence that same image where I don't think this is the stock market 1930s, and this I think is the similar cycle. This is today's stock market if we take out the dilution effect of what the Fed has done with this quantitative easing. And you can see there's a hell of a lot of similarity here. So I get the impression that we're sort of like right around here, but I think we're going to have to go through a good couple years of, sideways and then breakout. So anyway, that's sort of my 2 cents, sort of bigger picture. Considering what we've heard out of Mr. Oh, and then the final thing, and actually I've been, where the hell do I pin this damn thing? Because I keep mentioning it. I might as well mention it to the YouTube audience. I think I was mentioning it to, nope, not there. Darn. I was mentioning it to the, I never find this damn image. I think it was my level 3ers. This is such a cool image. But in essence, this was drawn like, I guess like 200 years ago now. And it's kind of hard to see, but if I can zoom in. This almost lines up perfectly with my fear-greed cycles. So you can see 1999, there's dot-com boom. 2019, 2020 really, 2035. That's the next sort of big cycle peak. Unfortunately, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. So we're on sort of a downshift right now. The only reason why you can't see it in the stock market per se, because if you just open up the newspaper and you go, well, Brian, that doesn't look like that image whatsoever. Well, remember, this image you see on the left is a lie. It's not real. Image on the right, this is real. This is the actual real value of these stocks if you take out the dilution of the currency. So people in the public, they look at the stock market and go, fucking, hey man, this is a bull market. We're all going to get rich. Well, are you? Dollar for dollar, really, stock market's not doing a hell of a lot. What I'm really worried about here is, crypto has done very well. And it has these very regular 4-year cycles. And I can tell you unequivocally, the other side of this 4-year cycle in particular, it is not pretty. Be careful. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not in the business of predicting. But I tell you, I am going to be selling a good portion of my crypto assets if I see Bitcoin do this kind of move up top here. And I'm probably going to refrain from doing a hell of a lot of activity in the market until I see that 2-year washout, right? And this is basically the same thing where, are kind of, if we go like actually there, right? August, September. So, we're kind of in that phase of this particular growth cycle. You can see it. It should be pretty similar. You see vroom, right? Vroom. So, we're moving along here. But we're coming into the end. And then if we go back to the previous cycle, this is what I think this one kind of looks like. This is what I think this particular cycle looks like more. Notice August, September. It's coming into an end. But once this move happens, you have to be prepared for this. And this. So don't be shocked, folks. Please. Also, too, and... I'll never be like fucking voted Mr. Popular. Never. My hunch is we're probably going to flounder around up here for the next maybe, I don't know, week or two. I do like the idea that you might actually find, believe it or not, and I don't know where the best place to show you this is. You might find... You notice how that this bottom came in about 2 weeks following that bottom, eh? Now you might find that this top comes in maybe like the second week of September. I don't know. Regardless, I think we should be thinking about a top here over the next few weeks. I think that's logical. And please, everybody, understand. This is actually the environment right in here where shitcoins can get absolutely decimated. This window from and we're not in it yet, but I would say from about I'd probably even say somewhere about the middle to September, right up through to about the middle to the end of December. This is by far the most dangerous time of year in altcoin land. No doubt about it. So, if you wanted to just, if you made a pile of money on Luna or, any of those names, you want to just maybe go into cash, wait for Mr. Gessler to do his thing. I have a funny feeling that this is where Mr. Gessler comes out and does a lot of shit. I can't really comment, to be perfectly honest with you, on one versus the other. I mean, it's a mug's game. What I'm going to simply say is I know from 3 or 4 years in this business, just like I said, you want to make money buying and selling Bitcoin, it's fucking easier than shit. It's so easy. Somebody, Mr. Great Del Moody, write this down. It is so easy. Figure out when the cost or the halvening event's coming. Mark on your calendar about 6 to 12 months prior to that event. Draw your reload zones on your price chart. When price gets into reload zones, and we're within 6 to 12 months of the halvening event, start your dollar cost averaging plan. It's just that simple. So let's see if anybody's listening on YouTube. Are we near a halvening event right now? You enjoying the edutainment here, Khalid? No, you're not? Oh, fuck. Way to go, BB. Mr. Zero Schiller. Smash those likes, plebes. Hey, nice. I know. I'm the worst shell. Look at that. I got 3 downvotes. Who the fuck downvotes me? I mean, hell, I don't even think I said anything, Eddie. I know. I'm just playing with you, dear. You're awesome. I'm glad you still like me. I mean, the one thing I hate about me is that probably the first year or two that you listen to me, you're just sort of like, wow, who is this guy? He's over the fucking top. But then after about 2 or 3 years, you start going, okay, well, I've heard all the same stories before. This guy, I mean, I understand the message. Now I'm a professional trader. I've had about enough of him. I don't know when we're going to get to that point with you. I hope it's not for a long time. Anyway. All right, so we got here, no, says Adam C. Good. 2024. Isn't that interesting? So the next halvening event is 2024? So isn't that interesting how we go to our cycles and we see that the whole market cycle is supposed to bottom around 2023? Are you guys kind of seeing this? Does this make sense now? Anyone? Bueller? I hope so too. ASLUADANAM says, hope you'll be here forever. Well, we all know that our little slice of of life is actually pretty short relative to forever. Sure hope these YouTube videos, wouldn't it be cool if these YouTube videos, you come back a couple hundred years ago and people are still making reference to this shit? Now that would be cool. Now that's living forever. But happy holograms, there you go. That don't have lumps in their thighs, right? Oh boy. I don't think a hologram can get lumps. Anyway. So, yeah. I mean, the problem here is that what's really interesting, so market bottom 2023, but still in greed cycle. Well, sure, Colleen. It's interesting, Colleen. What was life like for you after the 87 crash? Do you remember 87? It's funny. I got my first job in the stock market in 1988. And I remember in 1987, there were guys that were literally jumping out of office buildings. I remember specifically when the stock market crashed, there were people that actually committed suicide. So, when was the greed cycle peak for that particular cycle, Colleen? Was that cycle peak even in the 1980s? And yet, man, if you were a stockbroker in 1988, I'll tell you, man, times were pretty damn tough. I mean, how do you interpret? I mean, we'll just go back here and show you, right? What's so funny about 87, and I know exactly the same thing's going to happen here. Exactly the same. You can see I've already had this conversation with you guys. So 1987, notice that this quote-unquote stock market crash, well, actually, it turns out it wasn't a crash. It was just nothing more than just a healthy technical correction. And you want to see something really funny? This is so cool. If you actually look at Bitcoin, and this is why I think that Bitcoin's probably got to calm down here into the fall. If we look at Bitcoin, here is Mr. Gann's magic date right here. This is why I have this X on here. You're probably, especially YouTube people, are probably like, well, why the fuck is he going on about this crazy X over here? Because it turns out that Mr. W.D. Gann, a guy who had probably one of the best smiles in the stock market game, if you've ever seen him smile, Mr. William Dilbert Gann, there he is. There's one. Actually, that's one of his more boisterous smiles. So that's where he's really, really happy. Anyway, there he is. He actually had well, he was sort of the first one to sort of use this 50% retracement concept in earnest here, North America wise. And he would just simply say that, actually this market, this top here, the market should correct exactly 50% of that number. So that number there is 64,895. Well, sure enough, boom, 64,895 divided by 2 sounds to be about $32,000, eh? So what's interesting, though, is that Mr. Gann also postulated that this 50% retracement, there is the 50% level right there, it should actually happen about exactly half the time that it took to go from the bottom all the way to the top. So if we take that window and we chop it in half, well, then that actually projects that we should hit that 50% level right around the end of September. So in a weird sort of way, remember we talked about I am looking for this dump to set up that buying window, because remember we said that, gee whiz, this sure seems like it's an awful lot like 13, 14. Oops. And I said, probably good idea that if you did want to buy some corn, You just set up your buy orders at, this was the 1314, 61.8 doink. So here is the current market, right? There's your top right there. There's your bottom. So 61.8, 37 and change. So ironic, that's 61.8 now. There's the 50% level of the entire range. And if we go boobity-boo, boobity-boo, you notice 61.8. Pretty darn close, eh? So my hunch is, for whatever it's worth, and of course it's just an opinion, I'm just talking out my ass here, do not trade opinions. We all know how many reasons you should have to justify your actions, and you should be able to do it over and over and over, i.e. trade setups. But if you're going to have an opinion, sort of what thinking going forward, I really like the idea of a nice pullback down into this area. And the one thing that really bothers me about this whole move is back at the last bull run here, we, for the longest time, we had this bottom rallied up. For the longest time, we were thinking, okay, where the hell's the mountain man level? Mountain's got to be traded to. And we had this sort of bottom come in. They worked the market up, and then you can see, bang, right into mountain. And then I think I even went off of like even bigger ranges, right? And just said, well, why don't we take the entire range and go off of that kind of low. Although I don't know whether I would do that or not. Anyway, point here is you notice that the market came down just above mountain man levels, and we're kind of like, man, that's awfully suspicious. And sure enough, bang, it had to come down and slam down into these levels, and there's finally your mountain man tag. So with that said, and probably also too, we could do foggy buggies. Foggy buggy. Foggy buggy. Foggy buggy. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, that's just evil when you see that shit, eh? Fuck. Isn't that incredible? Wow. Damn, that's nuts. So there's your market top. I remember I said earlier, what are you supposed to think if you see the market smiling at you? Right? And you go, broop, and broop, and broop. And the universe gave me this incredible gift a year or two ago, in that the universe said, Brian, you're ready to learn about chaos theory. So I've been working really, really hard over the past couple of years to try and really work chaos theory thinking into my trading. And I mean, look at that. That's fucking ridiculous. And I remember too, this was such a killer level because this was Kevin's killer buy level on Bitcoin. I always wanted to try and make him famous for this trade, where he came in and he bought the Wyckoff check here. Whoops. Oh, I wonder what I did. I did something wrong there. That was weird. Oh. Yeah, sorry guys. Anyway. There. And there. And 88.6 of this. Boosh. Boosh. So, talk about a buy window, eh? Holy moly. Wyckoff check. Foggy buggy. 88.6. Oh. That's how you get rich at this game, trading. So, put it all together, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if there is some sort of fuckery all around these lows here. And considering, too, like that 13-14. I don't know whether any of you were even around, but this was an extremely violent event, that Silk Road reversal. Very violent. So probably it's going to be damn difficult to even trade that. Maybe just have stink bids working. See if we can get filled on some stink bids. And we won't know whether this is actually reversed until this actually paints an inside bar. And you can see by the time the inside bar actually paints, and yep, actually this is a reversal and we're heading back higher. Well, you don't find that out until like right in here, a million miles away from that low. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens as well. So just be prepared. I did want to, as sort of an aside, I did want to just talk a little bit about, I don't think that Bitcoin's actually driving the bus right now in this market state. You know, you saw all that Dogecoin and all that kind of crap, right? I think that actually this is driving the market state right now, right? And all the NFT stuff and that kind of, sort of environment. So if that's the case, then we had sort of thought, well, there's the top end of the Ethereum's range, Mountain Man, all that kind of fun stuff. There's a Foggy Buggy. Remember, Bitcoin has not hit its ABCD objective. I could easily see another pop up top here. And then, if this thing actually does top out, away we go. Remember, that big celestial event is August 25th. Boom. So I would be very cautious after this 25th. But if we're really lucky, more dog money kind of craziness. And I think the Dogecoin people, they're trying to get a shill going. Hats off to Sjord fucking owning this crypto market as Luna. I mean, wow. I mean, we between you and me, TRI made a lot of money on this. So, hugs and kisses, Sjord. Way to go. But this has got to take some time to clean up. You can't come in and continually expect this to just keep pumping higher and higher and higher. At some point, this thing's got to calm down and it's got to clean itself up. And that's sort of what I'm worried about following the 25th here, okay? So just be careful, everyone. Don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. Could this be... Now, I was also postulating with site members that this could also, if we're lucky, this could be a midpoint consolidation. So notice that if this does consolidate and we break to the upside, notice that, hey, gee whiz, that's going to take us up into our hard move levels. So, the problem here is I told you, like I stepped in and bought this Mountain Man level. And this is the area that if you wanted to be a buyer, you had to have the fucking balls to step up and pull the trigger here. I'm not going to say it's easy, don't get me wrong. Not going to say it's easy one bit, but that's where you had to do it. Coming in on the buy side here, that's tough. Could go either way. Like I said, we could get that reload zone pullback, and my hunch is, there's an interesting high to low trend line there working on ETH. I could easily see us come back and play, Wyckoff checks, maybe a big violent dip or something. Following that August event, maybe something like into here, September, right? Sets up that big pump move into the end of the year. I could totally see that. But at the same time, too, don't get into the business of predicting. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen here. I mean, maybe we bought our way higher here, right? And this is the A, B, C, D, and we take our work our way up into the next foggy level. But coming in and doing something right there, that's tough. Tough. In fact, might even say that don't think we got it. No. So I was worried that maybe this was a 3-bar fractal. I beg your pardon, an inside bar failure, but it's not. This high is actually higher than that high. So that's a good sign. What it does mean is we will get that 3-bar fractal failure signal if tomorrow, beep, we open up a new candle trading tomorrow. And we trade through whatever this low is that you see on the chart there. So if we finish the day like this here today, and then we trade through that low tomorrow, then that will create a 3-bar fractal failure, and I would expect a serious test of these lows. It hasn't happened yet, so don't put the cart before the horse. But that would be the way I would be looking at this right now. And if anything, like what I would prefer to see, because what the hell, I want to make money from trading. And I just to FYI, I'm predominantly long. I don't really like to short a hell of a lot. It's just too risky in my eyes. So if I am short, I'll buy puts. So I have puts on things like big bank stocks right now, but not really a hell of a lot. No open shorts. I don't really like to openly short. But if this is actually a bull, you guys have actually heard me talk about this sort of cockeyed midpoint rectangle. I see this happen a lot. And that would basically imply A, B, C, D up into here. I'd love for that to happen because keep in mind, remember, I bought down here. I've got open orders to sell halves on doubles at things like 2.618. So I'd love to get a further push higher. Don't get me wrong. And I couldn't really add to this trade unless I got a serious pullback down into this reload zone here. And then we get some like W action down here. Then I'll be like, all right, let's get in there. But not until then. So kind of no man's land. I think that's probably the best way to describe that. It's just kind of like we're floating around in no man's land. Franco asks, does anybody have that warrant expiration date, exercise price info? Got a bunch of pages. I know I like to go and visit the Canadian warrants. I think that's what it's called, something like that. There it is. These guys are really good. And they also have U.S. warrants as well. I guess here's... And they got... Look at this cool spreadsheet. So they got like all the expiration dates, the exercise price, the whole damn thing. July 29th, 2021. So that's pretty newly updated there, Franco. And you can see American warrants trading on all U.S. markets updated weekly. So there's American warrants. So that gives you a whole bunch of U.S. names as well. So hopefully that helps you. CanadianWarrants.com. Also, Interactive Brokers. I think they have a pretty robust list of warrants as well. So check out that. Okay, is there anything else I'm supposed to talk to you guys about today? Did you all get sort of the cautionary message from me here about Bitcoin? I don't know whether I feel comfortable calling a top here. I don't think we're at a quote-unquote top just yet. I'm still hearing lots of sort of frothy, sort of circle jerky kind of conversations. That macro voices. Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe what I was listening to when I heard that. Which tells me that I think we're still heading higher. The only question here is, of course, you can't chase. So do you have the patience and discipline just to wait for some sort of consolidation in here? And look to hunt W's down the road here and see if we can get a half decent little re-entry window here heading into the fall. That's probably the way I'm looking at that. I did completely miss this Litecoin trade. Kind of pissed me off, but you can kind of see kind of the end of the move. Can't chase it now. If we do get pullbacks into reload zones against these lows, I'll probably take another look at them, but can't really do anything there. And the interesting thing is like things like Luna and OMG, for example. If I did really want to own this, I've got a free position here now, so I don't really care at this point. But if I did want to own it, it's the same shit, guys. Nothing changes here. So there's your reload zone. Probably against these lows, 88.6. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. So you can sort of see all the logic. It's identical. The only problem that I have right now is that this right here, and I said this earlier, this is a dangerous, dangerous part of every market. And really, how does the expression go? Buy when it what? And is it whatting out there right now? So, yeah, very good, Cheryl. Very good, Simeon. Yeah. You know what's scary, Cole, is we're supposed to have this pivot. And I love this Andrew, one student of mine. I'm so happy with him. He does this work. He's about the only guy on the site that I've really got to really buy into this. But here's that August 25th pivot. And then what's scary is that the next EVU doesn't come in until December 8th. Oh, fuck me. So, And as Cole says, we got a couple really nasty dates coming up here in the fall. There's Saturn and Uranus, which historically are not friendly, and they're really scary kind of implications. There's a couple really key relationships coming up there. So, oh goodness, get ready, folks. Just be light on your toes. I thought it was interesting that I didn't want to get my reading from Shane because I knew it said that there was a lot of bad shit coming up in my life. And every time I talk to him, he reminds me, by the way, there's about 3 or 4 huge events coming up in your life. And I'm like, I know, I don't want to know about it. And I can tell you, I had a pretty big health scare here recently that has nothing to do with this stupid COVID nonsense. It might just force me into early retirement here where I just don't interact with you people anymore. So just be forewarned, that could definitely come down the pike. We'll see how the results come out of all of this. And number 2, TRI itself, I think needs to go through a massive reorganization. So we'll be sort of going through that process over the next 6 months itself. And then number 3, I'm sort of doing considering a major change of my life here with regard to housing, and my son and a local guy here who's given me an opportunity to set up a really cool trading operation here through the fall and early winter. So there are going to be really, really big changes in my life over the next 6 months. 6 months from now, maybe 8 months from now, I would imagine my life is going to look very, very different. So be forewarned. Also, too, I was exceedingly pleased, over the top pleased. I mean, you guys, what is there? There's 80 people over there on YouTube. Do you believe that I come at this from the best intentions? I'd like people who are watching this, if they're brand new, they've never seen this before, to see your writing on the YouTube page. So, can you please answer that question, all 80 of you? Do you think I come from an honorable place? Do you think I'm thinking about your best intentions through this entire time that you've known me? Please answer that question now. I'd appreciate it. There's one answer. That's good. So 1 out of 8 of you. There's 3 people over there that obviously really do not like me and have downvoted this video. So obviously that not all of you, of course, like me. But the answers I'm seeing back are yes, absolutely, yes, of course, yes, honorable, yes, yes, Brian. All right, so, one of my great dreams, and I do find it, I'm going to end the video on a little bit of a personal note here, so just bear with me. If I happen to burst into tears, well, shit happens. I'm not in this for the money. I mean, I have to say that I do very well trading. I don't need a job. I really don't. And what I do is fun, so I like what I do. So as a result, theoretically, there is no job. There is no work. If you like what you do, then technically you're not working. So there is no big shill. There is no big promotion. But at the same time, too, I'm left a little bit conflicted because TRI is a for-profit entity, and I would actually prefer to leave this. I don't want to be in this kind of environment indefinitely. So about 6-8 months ago, when everybody was going crazy there with that dog money Dogecoin stuff, I just threw it out there to the community. Is it maybe an idea that we take the next step? Brian takes the next step and tries to create sort of like a physical campus. I do not want people to think of this as quote unquote an investment and SEC and all that kind of shit comes at you. So how could we create this campus? How could we create this retreat that everything that I do verbally on this sort of, this interneting thing, how can we create like a physical manifestation of this? Because I think that's the next logical step here, is if this is going to make a resounding impact on this human species, it has to somehow take a physical form, I think. And I threw the idea out there of buying a nice little piece of property in what I would consider a relatively safe area. I know all of you hate me for this, but I'm actually a US dollar bull for the next easily 15 years. So I actually like the idea of stepping in and investing in the United States of America when probably most of the world thinks that that's absolutely the worst idea possible. And of course, I'm a contrarian, so if anything, it makes perfect sense to me. The good Lord brought a gentleman into my life that is a real estate developer and an expert. And you just talk to him, expert just spills out of his pores in property development in this one particular area, Hawaii. And what's so ironic about Hawaii is that my parents used to always take my sister to Hawaii, but they would never take me. And it made me so angry and so bitter. Because, man, they used to take my sister there all the time. Fucking drive me crazy. But I wasn't allowed to go. Jerks. Anyway, I've always, I live in Vancouver here. So actually, Hawaii is actually the place where people go to sort of get out of the bad weather and stuff in the wintertime. So I found it interesting that about 4 or 5, 6 months ago, I reached out to the community and I just sort of said, how could we maybe make this a possibility? And I had one gentleman on the site say, well, have you ever heard of these things called NFTs? It's like, no. And he has been diligently working away on building out basically a really good use case scenario for a not-for-profit organization to have an NFT where people can contribute to the not-for-profit organization and be a part of it through this NFT idea. And I was sort of like, I'm a trader. Buy, sell, hedge. That's the only fucking thing I know. So I was just like, dude, if this is, and he's so smart. This guy's like smarter than smart. He's like over the top smart kind of guy. And I was like, if this was predestined to be, if this was meant to be, then it will happen. You will bring it about. And it's beautiful just watching him. Every month or two, he just checks back in with me. Yeah, Brian, this is what's happening. And goddamn, the guy's bringing it together. It's incredible to watch how much work Seb's done on all this. And he's actually getting to the point where it's about ready to go. So I did put out sort of a cattle call, if you will, a very basic sort of, would you be interested in being what I would consider like a foundation stone, that kind of thinking, like a cornerstone kind of member of this not-for-profit organization. And ironically enough, the local people in Hawaii actually get incredibly underserved. And Zach was like, Brian, it would be perfect if this not-for-profit organization really concentrated on its efforts initially just to make a positive impact in these local Hawaiians' lives. So I threw together a proposal. It was very basic 3 or 4 months ago. I'm exceedingly pleased to see that Sjord was very skeptical to begin with, but after talking with Sebastian and myself and starting to get to know a little bit of our motivations, he's actually much more receptive to the idea. And I have to tell you, folks, this thing's coming along at 100 miles an hour. So don't be surprised that actually I actually do start talking more and more about the Hawaiian project, and starting to ask people who expressed some interest previously whether they were seriously serious. And of course, if we have a big old insane face rip move higher here on the corn into the end of the year, that should make maybe thinking about purchasing one of these cornerstones for this not-for-profit organization more realistic. Also, too, super impressed with Zach, of course, consummate professional, and that he understands the way not-for-profits need to be organized, and there's a ton of legal issues all around that, and he and I have been talking extensively about that. And I just have to say, I just feel as though this has now become almost like, well, the TRI community is actually going to take over. Sebastian's making this NFT thing happen, whether I like it or not. It's just beautiful. The TRI community, these people, they got to have a heart of gold. They're just beautiful people. And I think, if anything, that would be a really great sort of segue for Brian. That I could continue doing all of this public work. We could actually fund educational programs. The not-for-profit organization would pay for people's education at TRI, that kind of thing. I don't even think TRI itself will even be involved. There won't be any direct connection between TRI and the not-for-profit organization, unless, of course, Seward and Julian would like to participate. But I've never asked them or TRI to contribute anything to this. I really want this to be more about the community. So I'll contribute personally out of my own pocket, but I'm not asking TRI itself to do anything here other than just give it its blessing that, yeah, okay, this isn't such a bad idea. All right, so I wanted to give you a little bit of heads up on that. Like I said, Sebastian's just working away like just a soldier. I'm so proud of him. And I wanted to just let people who are kind of curious about what was going on with all that, what's happening. As soon as he's ready to do like an actual presentation of the user interface of this platform and how you might participate if you are interested, then I'll start sending out emails and invitations and stuff to that group of people that did express an interest before, that it's time to actually start getting a little more serious about this. So, okay, it's 1 o'clock now. Gotta go get pretty for the boy. Hope you all got some value out of that. As I sort of started off the video today, things have been very up in the air. And unfortunately, I think to a certain degree with regard to all these free videos and stuff, I can't do this on my own. So as soon as we have that video production assistant person online and kicking ass, then I'll see if I can start doing some more free videos for the YouTube channel and stuff. But I think for now I'm probably just going to dial it back to these Broiler Chicken shows for now. We do the daily brief, so if you were kind of, I love that content, Brian. We do the daily brief Monday to Friday. There are 3 to 30-day trial periods that you can participate on. I think it's fantastic content. You might you might get like Luna ideas thrown at you by people like Sjord. I mean, damn. Everybody got a hell of a gift, and if you didn't and you made pile of money on Luna, I think you are required to give Sjord a shout out. Yeah. Let's also too, we've got that new school term coming up here in the fall. I will try and do the little raffle. I'll try and do it on my own. Kevin, of course, made it really easy when he helped me out, but I'm on my own right now, so I'll try and do it. I'll probably kind of half-ass it, but hopefully we can give away a nice free seat to somebody. And if anything, if I do a half-ass of advertising it, then that means the odds of you winning actually go up quite a bit. So, PMA for the win. try and stay positive through all this. I don't know whether you see, on my personal Twitter feed, my country right now is going through elections. The atmosphere is incredibly high anxiety, very stressful. Not very many. A lot of people are very happy in my country right now, as I'm sure probably in your country it's the same. And ironically enough, I mean, the funny thing about that is that technically Canada is a sell for literally the next 20 years. So by seeing what actually is happening here on the ground in the country, I can understand why it's a sell for the next 20 years. What a surprise. So, hope you enjoyed the offering. Hope you got some value out of it. Thank you for the 3 downvotes. Appreciate it. Hugs and kisses. Maybe the rest of you can all hit the like button, smash subscribe, ring Colleen's bell. We can offset the 3 haters. Wasn't too negative today. I will say, though, I wasn't overly impressed with the overt shill of the macro kind of story on Bitcoin right now, and that to me is a great sign of the times. The orgy is in full swing. The only problem here is, are you going to make any money out of this, or are you just going to get wrapped up in the orgy and get caught bag holding? Be careful, everybody. I've been at this game a long time. Writing's on the walls. All right. Have yourselves a great day. Wish me luck with Liam. Love it when I get a whole bunch of positive karmic messages from you guys. It makes me feel super, super good. So wish me luck with Liam, and I hope I wasn't too much of a dick here today. I didn't say anything stupid. I often say dumb things when I just sort of free fall here, but hopefully I was a pretty good citizen here today. PMA for the win. Let's try and just keep forging forward. And of course, if you're relatively new to this trading game, get your ass in that goddamn school. Just get the process learned. Get on top of that. And then, when the W's do start coming in earnest, you can participate and make tons of money from trading. But until you have that skill set, I don't even really want to talk to you about trading because you don't even know what you're doing. So just learn the process. Get it done. And then we can all talk as traders. So, okay, have yourselves a great day. Thank you so much. All the best. And as Colleen hey, Colleen, you got a microphone? You want to take us on out of here today? Come on.
Sure, why not?
There we go. The only thing left for us to say at this point is...
Bye for now.